A massive layoff at a Pennsylvania factory foreshadows what could be. Troubles for Trump. One of Trump's signature campaign promises was delivering jobs to struggling blue-collar workers who felt like they were being left out of the global economy. Based on the latest government employment data, 22 states have seen manufacturing sector job losses. There's a lot of anxiety. Right now people are obviously worried. We just need some time right now to figure out exactly what's going to happen with the tariffs and how it's going to break down. Imagine waking up to find your town's heartbeat, its factory pride and soul has stopped. The steady hum of machinery is gone, replaced by a chilling silence, and the workers who kept it alive are left clutching cardboard boxes, their futures in ruins. This isn't a scene from a grim novel. It's the harsh reality that struck America's heartland when KCK, giant in farming equipment, unleashed a corporate shockwave without warning. Kasich closed its U.S. factories, leaving thousands jobless and entire communities in chaos. This wasn't just a layoff, it was a betrayal that rocked the Midwest to its core. The fallout is still spreading, tearing apart the fabric of rural life. This is the story of Case IH's devastating exit, the destroyed trust, and the struggle to survive in the towns and fields left behind. The trouble began with a brief cold memo. No rumors, no hints, just a sudden announcement that Case IH was shutting down its American factories and moving production to Brazil, Germany, and India. While there's no clear evidence of a total U.S. shutdown, the impact on towns like Rhea and Fargo was crushing. One day workers were building KIH's iconic red tractors, machines farmers relied on. The next they were locked out carrying their tools from silent plants. These weren't just jobs for many, they represented a family legacy, a source of pride passed down through generations. That pride has turned to anger and grief as workers feel abandoned by a brand they helped build. The consequences hit fast and hard. Farmers who had trusted Case IH's red tractors for decades were left stranded. Need a part to fix your tractor? Good luck, it's likely stuck on a ship halfway across the world. The farming equipment industry was already struggling with supply chain issues, and Case IH's move made matters significantly worse. With planting season nearing, farmers faced a crisis. A broken tractor could mean a lost harvest. Small farms barely staying afloat had to choose between paying exorbitant prices for imported parts or giving up entirely. Some switched to rival brands, painting over their KIH red tractors in a quiet act of defiance. Fears of consumers putting the brakes on new purchases are already having an effect south of the border. Right now, companies have been in one of two modes: analysis and paralysis. Once beautiful American on what he called Liberation Day, Trump promised a golden age of American manufacturing. We may see the long-term benefit, but in the interim I'm just afraid that we'll see a lot of backlash. Looking for a new way forward on a rocky road, the trust Case I had built over generations crumbled in just a few months. The deepest pain lies in the towns Case IH left behind. Picture Main Street, once buzzing with activity. Now half-deserted shops are closing because factory workers no longer stop for coffee, gas, or lunch. Families are leaving shrinking school classrooms. Banks are nervous about unpaid loans. Even little league teams are struggling, missing the uniforms and trophies that Case IH once sponsored. While there's no proof Case IH has fully stopped community support, the sense of abandonment is overwhelming. The silence in these towns isn't just from idle factories, it's the sound of communities unraveling, their identities fading. For farmers, the stakes are critical. Farming runs on tight schedules, and Case IH's exit has thrown everything into chaos. A broken part like a sensor or hose might take weeks to arrive, if it arrives at all. Mechanics once able to get Case IH parts overnight now resort to desperate fixes, cobbling together repairs, scavenging old machines, or even 3D printing makeshift parts in a scene straight out of a survival tale. Dealerships are in trouble too. Case IH service bays sit empty, shelves are bare, and frustrated farmers demand help that no one can provide. Warranty claims pile up in Case IH's customer service lines go unanswered. To make matters worse, Case IH has sent legal threats to other businesses trying to supply replacement parts, leaving farmers feeling betrayed. Again, while this chaos unfolded, Case IH's executives remained silent, hiding behind vague phrases like global efficiency and strategic shifts. They offered no apologies or explanations. Simultaneously they advertised jobs for their new overseas factories seeking the same skilled workers they had let go in the U.S. It felt like a personal insult, as if to say, we don't need you here but we'll take your skills elsewhere. The anger in the heartland runs deep, and it's not only about lost wages. These towns didn't just lose jobs, they lost a piece of who they are. Casey's red tractors, once symbols of hard work and American farming, are now painful reminders of broken promises. Rival companies seized their opportunity and moved in. Brands like John Deere and Kubota offered deals to farmers ready to abandon Casey machines at county fairs, where Case IH displays once drew crowds. Competitors set up booths handing out free hats and coffee mugs to win loyalty. Their message was clear: we're here for you farmers who had remained loyal to Case IH for generations. Began to listen. Used Case IH tractors flooded the market, sold for next to nothing as people turned away. The bond Case I had taken decades to build was lost. The human toll is heartbreaking. Workers in their 50s and 60s, too young to retire, but too old to easily start over, face a grim future. Some left their towns in pursuit of uncertain jobs elsewhere. Others stayed, clinging to hope that refuses to materialize. The government has provided little assistance, and local leaders are scrambling for answers that do not exist. Lawsuits are emerging, with farmers, dealers, and suppliers uniting to accuse Case IH of deceit and bad faith. Some claim Case IH has planned this move for years but kept it secret to avoid backlash. Others point to the soaring costs of imported equipment, which feel like an added insult. The courts will determine the legal outcome, but to the public, Case IH's reputation is already in tatters. This betrayal even touches the next generation. Farm families who dreamed of passing down Case IH tractors now want their kids to avoid the brand. Trade schools have stopped teaching Case IH repairs, and scholarships that the company once funded are gone. The red tractor, once a symbol of aspiration, is now a warning. Yet there's a flicker of hope. Small farmer-focused startups are emerging, demonstrating that business can support communities without causing harm. Case IH could attempt to repair the damage by admitting its mistakes, restoring jobs, and listening to farmers. However, many believe it's too late. When a company prioritizes quick profits over loyalty, it loses more than just customers, it loses its heart. This serves as a wake-up call for rural America, raising a difficult question: what happens when giant companies disappear, taking jobs and hope with them? This isn't just a story about tractors, it's a reckoning for the soul of rural America. It forces us to confront a painful question: do big businesses still value the workers, farmers, and communities that built their empires, or will the relentless pursuit of profit always come first? The betrayal by KOH has left deep scars, not just in the form of shuttered factories and idle fields, but in the erosion of trust that once bound towns together. For now, the heartland is quieter, its factories dark, its people grappling with an uncertain future. Yet amid the wreckage, there's a flicker of resilience. Rural America is fighting to hold on, redefine its identity, and rebuild what was lost. The era of Case IH's red tractor, once a proud symbol of American grit, may have faded, but the struggle for what comes next is just beginning. New voices, small startups, determined farmers, and tight-knit communities are rising, proving that hope can grow even in the most challenging times. Still, a haunting question lingers, casting a shadow over every small town and family farm. Who's next if a giant like Case IH can vanish overnight, abandoning those who depended on it? What's to stop other corporations from doing the same? The answer will shape the future of rural America, and the fight to protect its way of life is far from over.